I would say I beat the shit out of Rihanna. That's what I would say. And I'm lucky as hell that the most people are dumb as shit because they'd rather see some kid dance like a crackhead toddler asking for a hot Cheeto than to admit that there will never be another Michael Jackson. That's just my opinion, though. I was going to say, what up, Troy Scott's welcome to Bonding, but I couldn't let it get out of my lips. I've been doing this show for 9 years. Still don't have an intro, especially now that my work wife, Tori, has left me to start her own podcast, Tori's Stupid Podcast. Please go check it out because in many ways, it's like my podcast, considering the amount of episodes that I've helped her edit. But I mean, like, it's a learning curve. Everybody out there who's going through a creative process knows it's a learning curve, and we love Tori. I hope the same people listening to this go over and listen to Tori. I heard last week was an all-time high for listeners. They got over, there was 2 people for most of the episode, which is great. I love her to death. Shout out to Tori Cole. Actually, next episode she has coming out with Emma Willman, friend of the show. She'll be on the show in a couple of weeks, so hit her up. I can't do the backwards hat thing. I feel like I'm selling kids Ritalin. I think kids already take Ritalin, but the ones with the real bad feeding problems, they would buy it from a guy like me with a backwards hat. Dude who had like a 14-year-old girlfriend. Did you have that in your school? Be like a guy who's like 24 and then there was this girl in my class named Jess, almost said her last name. Jess, the first boob I ever touched, we'll call her. And I thought she was so, welcome to Bonding. I'm Troy Bond, by the way. Sorry. Back to my 7th grade Fab stories. I just thought Jess was like so, okay, I'm recording good because this is gold. Jess, most women in my life, up until recently, but even then, most women are out of my league because whether you want to listen to it or not, I'm going to tell you what I feel like talking about. And like that works when you have money or fame, 2 things I have none of. I have a Roth IRA and people recognize me as the TikTok guy on the street and not the TikTok guy as in Troy Bond, the comedian TikTok guy. They think I'm Tiz Mallah. So like it's really, I don't got none of that. But most women in my life, now that I think about it, have been out of my league. I guess it's because I almost said trendsetter, but that's not true. People have like bad bitches since the dawn of humanity. I'm a goal setter. Always been someone who, if I wanted something, I was going to get it. You know, I spent 3 months looking for this red variation of the Bad Tour jacket. I got it. Was it cheap? No. Was it worth it? Absolutely not. I am sweating my left testicle off, but I mean, it's Stripper Drone. It's Michael Week. Welcome to Bonding. Today's first question. Was Michael Jackson a Crip? We're taking calls. And we have no calls. Beautiful. Okay. All right. Moving on. Troy's going to do his own independent research. He's going to cut it together, make it look like he had calls and people who gave a shit. We have questions later that we're going to go to, too. I miss doing Bonding, man. All right. So the reason there's like this, like the whole Jar Jar Binks is a Sith Lord thing. There's this conspiracy theory that Michael Jackson was secretly a pimp. I'm sorry. He's secretly a Crip. That was a Chris Tucker bit. That he was secretly a Crip. Now, if you go and you look up Michael Jackson, The Way You Make Me Feel, Backup Dancers, he's in blue. It looks to be doing I don't know what the Crip sign is. Probably going to get myself shot just for doing that in red. If I come to your hometown, Crips, please allow me to check in and explain myself. I'm really sorry. I didn't mean to do that. It's just the way you make me feel scared. And I'm talking. I should have just shut the fuck up. But anyway, all right, let me give you some background as to why people might think that. When they made Beat It, people forget that, like, and the Michael trailer just dropped this week too. That's why I'm decked out. You know, every time we get some new Michael news, the CEO has to come out. When they made the Beat It video, they weren't even playing black artists on MTV. And I think a lot of the population has a hard time understanding what Michael Jackson means to black people just for the sake of what he pioneered for them. And in the early 80s, they wouldn't play music videos. And Michael would be like, I don't know what they're playing. Like, it's a film, but like it's very unusual. I don't like it. I don't like it that much. And so we get his first one, which like he did a bunch with the Jacksons too, Enjoy Yourself, Shake Your Body, but those are basically just like lip sync videos. We get his first like actual video Don't Stop Till You Get Enough, which I'm sure the movie is going to go well over. And I'm doing a series called Michael and Me, where I'm going over every single one of his solo albums at a track-by-track basis. That's going to be dropping very soon. So we're going to go over a lot of that too. But I'm here to address the allegations of my client, Mr. Michael Jackson, Joseph, whether or not he was a Crip. When they made the Beat It video, they ran out of extras because the studio didn't want to pay for it. Eddie Van Halen didn't even want to appear in the video because he didn't think Beat It was going to be a hit. And I think he got paid with like a can of Coca-Cola or something. And when they were shooting that giant garage dance sequence, they were just picking gang members off the street to come and be extras in the video. If you watch the video closely, you can see the real dancers and you can see the non-dancers. And when he went to Brazil to shoot the Brazilian version of the They Don't Care About Us video with Spike Lee, the Brazilian government said, no, we're not going to guarantee your safety. And then some fucking drug lord guaranteed his safety because that's how powerful Michael was. And I saw an argument the other day that said, like, stars aren't immortal. You can't put them above everything else. And I am a stan, and I definitely have a biased argument, but like, that was the guy. Am I showing enough chest? There we go. I just want to make sure I'm showing enough chest. There we go. There was the Super Bowl is this Sunday, right? You know who performed the first Super Bowl show? Michael Jackson. Do you know why? Because I think it was CBS or Fox, one of the channels that pretended to like black people for a minute. Whichever one in Living Color was on, and Living Color would do this like spectacular halftime show up to 92, and it would take away viewings from the bullshit that the NFL had on, which would just be like flag twirlers and girls who were in color guard because they weren't pretty enough to be cheerleaders. And they saw a decent ratings drop. And so the next year the NFL went, yeah, Bad Bunny. No, it wasn't Hove then. I think it was Clive Davis. The NFL said, well, who's the biggest star on the planet? And they said, Madonna. And they said, be so fucking for real. And they said, oh, obviously it's Michael B. Jordan. And so they got Michael to do the halftime, and he was the first halftime show. And that was actually the first performance I ever did as a solo act in 8th grade. And I got no bitches. But it's a big Michael week. It's going to be a big Michael year, which is crazy for a man who ruled the planet for 30 years, died 16 years ago, had his loyal fans that never went anywhere. Michael Jackson is one of those, like, nobody does it. You can show a picture of his face and any village, any city, anywhere in the world, people know who he is. But I love the man. I studied the man. I saw a lot of myself in the man. I had a black dad who was kind of heavy-handed, and he beat my ass into success. And he often wants me to congratulate him for it. Like, I listen to Michael music, and I'm like, this motherfucker just like me. Now, if you're old like I am, you remember the 7.5 hour long Jackson's The American Dream movie from the 90s, which was incredible. Wiley Draper played adult Michael, or Victory Tour Michael, and he was actually in the Remember the Time video. And then he died, but he would have had a really promising career. He was amazing. The scene I remember most from that movie is when Joe sends Catherine out to go get some pecan ice cream, and then she comes back and he's on the phone with some other bitch. She just beat his ass out of the house, and that Michael was a mama's boy more than anything else. And we have other topics to discuss today too, but goddamn it, let me have this, all right? Let me have this. I don't even know who the fuck is playing in the Super Bowl. This is my Super Bowl. Actually, I'm not that excited for this movie, to tell you the truth. I'll be honest with you. It sounds like I am because, the Everything About Me. I'm more excited for more Michael knowledge to be in the public eye. And I'll tell you why I'm not excited for it. Because it's being produced and profited off of by the very estate that killed him. I can't watch This Is It. It's hard. I don't know if I talked about this on the last podcast. I can't watch it. That's a man who was not even 120 pounds, signed on to do 10 shows, pay off some debts. Then they go, 10 shows? Word. We got you for 50 shows, Michael. And then he's like, I'm not ready to do 50 shows. I'm going to die. Lou Ferrigno had to train him to get ready for those shows. And then he goes because they said he wasn't ready for it. And then what do? They put out a concert movie with all the rehearsal footage so they could still make money off of his corpse. That's why I won't buy that number one's vinyl, and I collect all of his vinyls. I won't buy that one because he's on video somewhere in a conference talking about how Tommy Mottola is the devil. I want to say something, but I don't want you to record. Okay, you can record if you want to. I have one more deal with Sony. It's the greatest hits deal. Joe gave me some of the best of them, but I wrote the greatest hits, and I got to give him one more song, which I already took care of already, so I guess we don't have to worry about that. And then after that album came out, the allegations the second time around hit him. And there's that thing going around. He died in 93. He closed his eyes in 2009. He died in 2005 because he really was still trying to keep going after 93. And then 2005, I think, was him realizing two things. One, wow, yeah, I maybe should have listened to the people that were around me. And two, I fucking hate everybody and I don't want to be anywhere near this planet anymore, let alone the United States. Because that prosecutor who tried to get him in 93 was the same guy who tried to get him in 2003. There was a fantastic book of the week I'm going to recommend to everybody, called The Michael Jackson Conspiracy, written by a journalist named Aphrodite Jones, who was there in the courtroom in 2006 when the 2006 when the trial was going on. And she sort of realized that like the media wasn't picking up on who was innocent and who was guilty. Like they automatically went, yeah, he's guilty. Now it's just a matter of how much time he's getting. And she talks about sitting down with Bill O'Reilly the day he died, and because that was all they could get as in terms of Michael Jackson adjacency. And she said when she was sitting there, she realized what she had done, and then wrote this entire beautiful book called The Michael Jackson Conspiracy about that trial. And look, if you're like me and you already don't believe the allegations, here's the thing that bothers me. People ask me all the time, do you believe those Michael Jackson allegations? Brother, if I did, do you think I would still listen to him? I'm not a Drake fan. Like I am principle. I don't even listen to Ignition. Yeah. Even though he didn't pee on me, I don't listen to Ignition. I don't even know what Ignition sounds like. I know remix to Ignition. I won't lie to you. I will watch every TikTok that has Trapped in the Closet on it, because that was a special moment in my childhood. Adrienne LaPalucci, incredible comic, has a really good bit where she's like, when it comes to R. Kelly, the old stuff, it's grandfathered in at this point. And that's the way you got to look at it. For some people, I mean, you can make the argument that if you don't listen to Diddy's music, his victims won't get paid. But like, if you listen to Diddy's music that Diddy is solely on, then there'll be more victims because they will have killed themselves. So like, it's a lose-lose situation. There's new unreleased Michael Jackson music coming out, which at first I was very skeptical of, because once this AI thing took off, I said they're going to start finding crates and crates and crates of just unreleased Michael stuff. And the stuff that's out is really good. I'll tag some links in the YouTube description below. There's this song, Changes, that's incredible. I want that to be a theme song to something. It's so good. Michael was one of those dudes that'd be like, yeah, this song is fire. Let's never release it. But there was also a big controversy in 2010 when John Branca, the guy who Miles Teller is playing in the movie, who Michael fired several times, but, he gave himself a part in the movie. He helped Michael get the Beatles deal in 83. And I read in a book once that Michael and John were having lunch, and Randy Jackson came up to John. It was right during Off the Wall. Randy Jackson, Michael's brother, wanted John to represent him, and John was like, what do you want me to do? And he was like, you represent my brother? Then you go fuck yourself then. And then Randy Jackson got shot in the ass by Tina Turner. So like, that's a real fact. Google it. The Michael Jackson estate, do I think that they are above putting out AI content? Fuck no. They're in bed with Marvel. Like, they put out a posthumous album in 2010 called Michael. I don't even think The Body had been cold 6 months yet. And like 4 of the songs were real. Bunch of them were produced by these backstabbing fucks named the Casios. It's a whole family who all of a sudden realized they were brainwashed after 25 years of claiming Michael was their best friend, and Michael had sought refuge in their house because he wanted to know what a normal life had looked like. And Frank even wrote a book called My Friend Michael that I read cover to cover, and I'm like, wow, that was a beautiful tale. And then you're like Wade Robson, you just wake up, oh yeah, I forgot I was diddled, which I'm not saying can't happen, but it's a little suspicious when it happens when your money runs up. But I say all that to say, and do your own research. I have, and then you'll see why I'm right. I don't talk about something unless I know what I'm talking about. Not to come off as cocky, I'm just read a bunch of Dr. Doom comic books. In 2010, on that Michael album, Keep Your Head Up, Monster, Breaking News, I feel like there's one more I'm missing. They were all fake songs, sung by a Michael Jackson sound-alike named Jason Malachi, who I think is Logic's cousin. And then they didn't put out another album until 2014, Escape, which was actually good because they brought in L.A. Reid and Timbaland, and they remixed all these songs that if you were a deep cut Michael collector, you knew those songs, but they added the flair that you felt like Michael wanted when he was producing those tracks. And I love the originals too. I love the Naked Bare Bones ones. But I'll link them in the description below. And then of course I have Troy's weekly playlist that we're gonna get to because I haven't got to show you what's been in my ears lately. You know, I was gonna save that for the politics segment, but okay, I guess I'll do it now, man, because I don't really know that much about her, but I never really liked her. Does seem to be an epidemic of Uncle Ruckuses out there right now. Myron Gaines, Nicki Minaj, Terrence K. Williams, Joy Villa, just, oh, look at the white man. He can't do nothing wrong. Look at President Donald Trump on Epstein's Island. You know why there wasn't no niggas there? Because niggas can't swim. Oh, you look at that man, Mr. Jeffrey Epstein. How you know a man to have two E's at one name and a nigga got three? Oh, did the Lord ever make anything more beautiful than a white man? That's what Nicki sounds like when she's on stage, pretending that she wasn't 5 years ago saying that Trump wanted to kick people like her. By people like her, I mean from Trinidad and Tobago, out of the country. But they all do it for the same reason. Same reason Wayne endorsed Trump, because he was facing a gun charge and he wanted a pardon. They allegedly gave Nicki a gold card, which if you don't know what a gold card is, you could pay $5 million to be a United States resident, which, I don't know if you've been outside lately, that look a little overrated. And when, I don't think we'll ever get Nuremberg trials. Like, I think that's a great little fodder for Blue Sky, but I'm noticing in real time we're giving and I'm not trying to be holier than thou. I've never hidden from it. I'm a leftist. And I don't say that with a big red S on my chest. That's just who I am. I realized I was a leftist when I was a Democrat, and I was like, wait. People do deserve health care. What the fuck are you talking about? That's a human right. Put a tampon in my bathroom right now. Who gives a fuck who's going to use it? I'll put it up my ass. What are you going to do? Fuck you, Chuck Schumer. Call Israel and ask them if it's okay for me to put a tampon in my ass. That was a real clip that came out this week that I thought was hilarious. Chuck Schumer was like, I'll do for the American people what I always have. Stand for Israel. Word to Big Bird. I'm pretty sure there's a dude at the deli on 7th Street around the corner from you who's been pissing himself for a week, but let's make sure we get that aid to Israel first. Wow, I went 4 different topics. I forgot what I was even angry about. I initially was angry at Nicki Minaj because the people that, you know what a token is? If you don't know what a token is, I'll explain it to you. Make me sound really condescending if you do. But Candace Owens essentially is a token, right? A token is your black friend. It's not even your friend. It's just a black person that you know that you bring around other white people to show that you're inclusive. And people like Candace, people like Nicki, Dr. Umar Johnson, to a lesser degree. He's more of a raccoon, I guess. He's a comedian, so it doesn't really matter. Fuck, what was I just talking about? No, but it was a point tonight. The thing with being, if you're asking yourself what the difference is between a Democrat and a leftist, is a Democrat doesn't necessarily give two shits about people, and they're the ones that I have to keep voting for every election cycle because they keep blocking the leftists from getting in. You want examples of leftists in office? AOC, once upon a time, would be considered the crown leftist. I listen to the Majority Report every day, which is a great leftist source to get my news from, and they're kind of funny and they're young, and because the thing is you watch legacy media all day, here's what happens, and this is nothing new. I feel like Jim Brewer. When you watch legacy media all day long, here's what happens. Breaking news, we're going to bring in 5 people to talk about what just happened. None of them know shit, by the way. They're going to speculate, and then not only going to speculate, they're going to spitball off of the speculations, and then we sell Viagra for 3.5 minutes. So, like, I'm not saying every form of entertainment needs advertising. Not this one yet, because nobody really gives a shit. But there is, you could just see, like, how they weren't talking about the Epstein stuff and legacy media this week, compared to like how all these, that's why I like these people can call themselves investigative journalists when really they're just like, they have a YouTube channel with a couple hundred subscribers. Those people there's great people like that. And I'm not just even talking about the ones who align with me politically, but I mean them first. Big stuff starts in small rooms, but you can't just call yourself an investigative journalist and walk into a daycare Bottom line, look, I don't think I made one clear, coherent point on the Nicki Minaj thing, other than the fact that the reason why she had the best verse on Monster is because she surrounds herself with them, and it should come as no surprise that that's what these people believe in. After a certain point in Hollywood, you make enough money, you become a Republican. It literally happens. I can't think of one person who it hasn't happened to. Bernie Sanders? You want me to bring up Hassan Piker's name on this stream? Listen, there's a shot collar over there the next time you want to speak up. I know some of those words. Yeah, there's race traders too. People call my dad a race trader all the time. Yeah, it is. 2 different colors, but sometimes transactional. Anyway, the point I was trying to make is, and this men, if you're listening, I know there's about 12 of you out there who are. Nicki Minaj's husband is a pedophile, right? Is that, let me just get my facts straight here. Nicki Minaj Boomin' System. D.L. Hughley defends trans kids. That is not what I looked up. Yes, okay, Nicki Minaj's husband, Kenneth Perry, is a registered sex offender. Those starships are meant to fly 500 feet away from a school zone. Yeah, okay, and then I think her brother is also, right? Her brother is too. Her brother's a sex offender. They both are, I'm pretty sure. I didn't put a space in. The 13-year-old stepdaughter of Nicki Minaj's brother. Okay, I'm not going to finish that sentence. Yeah, so the point I was trying to make is none of my friends are weird around women. And I thought that was an important thing to talk about this week, because there's this whole discourse online about why women should go for nerdy guys. And I know a few women who would say that you're fantasizing something. Yeah, it's a lot. There's a lot of Boba Fett helmets after a while. But like, there's nothing more heartbreaking other than the weirdo behavior toward women itself. There's nothing more heartbreaking than when you got to stop talking to a friend of yours because they're scaring the hoes. And I to quote Cat Williams, I'm only calling you hoes because I don't know your names individually, bitch. But like, you are the median of your 5 friends. You can look at your friends and go, okay, I know where you're going to be in 5 years. None of my friends have sex. I host a comic book podcast with one of them. The other one is running for Congress. And, well, let's just say I've had the same bottle of Vaseline next to my toothpaste since, I have to say, when John Kerry was running for president. More of the story is, don't be weird around women. How do you talk to women? I don't know. Who's your role model in your life? It depends on what you're trying to say to them. I remember when the Me Too movement happened, some comic came up to me and he was like, man, can't even talk to women no more. I'm like, what were you saying to them? You try hello? Not just like, hey, shut up, bitch, get in the car. Like, I don't know if you guys know this. Women are people. Yeah, I think I learned that when I was like 14. Yeah, it's they have feelings. They don't have any record of the presidency, but it's because we don't view them as people, and because we keep running terrible candidates. And that's why I think Marjorie Taylor Greene should be the next one to run for office. Sometimes I write notes of stuff I want to ramble on, and I have no idea what it is that I wrote. It says, if you're 35 and got ops, you wear a suit to the club. Clavicular. That's who that was about. He's 35. The Tate sisters? Yeah. Yeah, well, that was kind of my point about, like, I'd started Secret Identity in a certain point of view to try to grab, because men don't have, if you don't have a father in your life that's a good father, and you don't have a good role model, you're going to gravitate toward the Tates and toward the Trumps and toward the people who are telling you women are the problem and that you shouldn't shower. And you take pussy advice from gay-ass Nick Fuentes. And I don't mean gay derogatorily. I'm only saying it that way because he's deeply closeted. He wants to be a cat furry boy so badly. And those people get red when they get angry because their whole identity is attached to them closeting the parts of themselves that they wish they could be the most. So when they see me in this fly-ass bad tort jacket, they're like, damn, look at this guy. Somebody commented on my thing earlier today. They were like, Troy Bond is kind of like the Logic of comedy. It's appealing at first, and then it just gets kind of annoying. And I wasn't even mad. I was like, that's a fair point, but you could also just not said anything. But I'm glad that he said it because it's in my head. And then I put on this jacket and I shot 2 Star Wars sketches. So, like, not to be that you're like, haters, but like, You got a bunch of ants around here telling bees how to make honey. Black man said that to me on Saturday night. My life has not changed since. And when we left the conversation, it was at a show. He said, "Listen, my brother, the longer you stay on the wrong train, more expensive it's going to be to get home." And then he just walked the fuck away. That was best advice I've had in my 30s, and I'm only in my first one. I turned 30 a couple of weeks ago. Thank you for the birthday wishes, everyone in this studio. Everyone keeps leading up to 30 is bullshit. If you're born in 96 like me and you're scared about it, everybody comes up to you, older people, usually people in their 50s. My mom, Mrs. Puff, actually came through. She pissed. My people in their 40s are a lot cooler about it. My mom was pretty chill about it. Maybe as people are getting older, they realize they're dying. They're not bullying people about being 30 anymore. But like, I feel the same as I did at 29, except a year older. I feel like I can't make reckless decisions that I made. I feel like Marlon Brando in Godfather. Women and children, they could be careless, Michael. You can't be careless. You can't spend $82 in 2 days on food delivery, Michael. You can't do that. I worked my whole life to try to not have to pay a service charge. Like the whole "he's just a kid" excuse is gone. Like, I got to be a man, he said, wearing this belt buckled up jacket. I'll tell you the biggest thing for me is like thinking about, my parents were 25 when they had me, and I'm 30 now. So as far as I know, beat their high score. I can't imagine raising kids right now at my age. I mean, I'd probably do a really great job at it, but like, I just could not imagine doing it. And that's usually when people say something like, you know what, my parents tried their hardest. I'm gonna cut them some slack. And often cases that is right. And it could also be true that I was riding back from this producer's house in LA one night, and I told him all the stuff that I had gone through. I mean, my dad wasn't a monster. He was just the last of the heavy-handed generation. And I got it bad because I learned how to fuck with him at a certain age too. So like, a lot of it was not my fault, but I definitely was like, yeah, I bet you I could crack your blood pressure, because I did it one time and I wanted to see if it was a superpower I had. But I mean, I got cracked. Off. Pause. I got my shit rocked often. And I said that to this producer, and I was like, yeah, you know what? I'm not scared of anything in this business, because nothing's as scary as he was to me when I was growing up. And he was like, yeah, but imagine if you got hugged. And then I didn't have shit to say. I was quiet the entire time. And would I have been funnier? I don't know. But that's what I had to work with. And as I'm getting older, I'm noticing my parents being, not my parents, just people who didn't pull out and loved hanging out with each other, but didn't really they liked each other. They just, you know what the thing is? Your partner will leave you months in advance. And if you don't start paying attention to those signs, and you think you're just winning arguments and getting to play PlayStation and don't even check her location when she goes out, might as well pull up a cuck chair, my brother. Okay, what else do we have on the show tape? Where are we at? 35? Oh, okay, that's good. All right. See that video of Trump shitting himself? Which one? I know. He definitely wears diapers, which, as a senior citizen, is his right. As any citizen in this country, it's your right to wear a diaper. I'm wearing a pull-up right now. Doesn't even fit. Just brings my voice up an octave. I gotta go sing at the Philharmonic later. I don't even know what they sing there. That was a bad bit. It's my first week back, and Tori's not here to not add anything. Yeah, I think that's the best for politics there. Trump shat himself. What does that mean for the country? Okay, for me, it means three things. One, it's like the Bill Clinton blowjob thing, which ended up being a euphemism, allegedly. That's what I would have said. But like, so much horrendous shit happens that we just completely move on. That last batch of no files that came out should have made Americans up in arms. And I'm not calling for violence. I'm saying in other countries, that's how they handle that shit, because you guys act like protecting kids is your number one priority when it's really not. It's just the most moral thing you could do. So by anyone attacking you for your bullshit underlying message of protecting the children, when really it's to brainwash them and to ruin their children and their children's children, and not just the men, but the women and the children's children too. God, my God, sometimes I get myself so fucking ramped up, I lose what I was talking about. But, okay. How that relates to him shitting himself. so much happens consistently and we just have to take it in. And even when you like try to show your friend like a news story, you're like, hey, did you see this thing where Trump just straight up said the N-word? Nah, man, I didn't. Let me watch. Oh, that's crazy. And you talk about it for 20 minutes and then it's over. Like, I'm addicted to the 24-hour news cycle, but that's because I'm a comedian and I be running out of material a lot because I burned through a lot of shit. And it's also a funny world we live in. You can't be one of those people that says, I'm not political, because that tells me that I'm not even going to insult your intelligence, because you insulted your own when you said, I'm not political. A different phrase you might want to say is, I'm afraid of standing by my opinion and getting the backlash. So I'm just going to say, I want to play both sides because Michael Jordan taught me Republicans buy sneakers too. I would respect you more if you said that, right? Mind tricks don't work on me. I'm a comedian. I'm not political. Okay, Jelly Roll, well, you have that picture of you hugging Kristi Noem, probably right after she shot her dog. The alleged sober Jelly Roll won a country album after he did the Culture Vulture Pipeline. You know, Post Malone, Miley Cyrus, they all did it. Miley went back to rock, though, so... You know, it's Black History Month, so I'm going to be very protective over my black people. Speaking of which, because it's Black History Month, I would like to highlight a very important scene. One of the greatest black characters of all time. A man who goes by the name of Lando Calrissian. Now, if you don't know too much about Lando, every week on the show, we're going to be highlighting a clip from a movie. But this movie is my favorite movie, and let me tell you, Chewbacca, Billy D is my favorite out there. So, let me set up the clip. We're going to go through the clip, actually. Han Solo has been running from the Empire because they want to turn him into an icicle, and he runs out of options, and he goes, oh, yeah, you know, I got a black friend. Yeah, his name is Lando Cadillac. And Leia's like, you trust him? And he's like, no. He's got no love for not stealing my bike, I'll tell you that. So they go to Lando's Cloud City, where he's the administrator. And the last time Han and Lando saw each other, Han stole Lando's ship. And I say steal because he cheated in a game of Sabacc, which is a card game. I'm already losing the women on this. Trust me, it's only going to be 3 more minute segment. I want to go through this just scene by scene and talk about it. And if you like, when I talk about Star Wars, don't worry, it's completely separated into a whole other project now called Certain Point of View. You can check out the link in the description. I'm trying to keep bonding for everybody, but this is one of the most important American films, and it's my favorite movie, and you're just going to sit back and watch me react to it, and I don't really give a good goddamn what you have to say. I do. Please like, comment, and share, and rate the show. It helps us out so much. So, this minute-and-a-half clip I'm about to play you. Lando's been very hospitable to Han and Leia and Chewbacca while the Empire's been on their case. And then Lando is, as my grandfather would say, the type of nigga to step over a nigga to get to a nigga. And what Lando's basically doing here is he cut a secret deal with the Empire to keep his people safe. Because, you know, when you cut deals with authoritarian dictators or whatever the fuck Vader is, I don't even think he classifies as a dictator. He like Genghis Khan, but if Genghis Khan was a linebacker, disabled war veteran. So, all right, let's start from the beginning. Let's break down what's happening in the scene from the beginning. So right off the bat, he's going, since we're a small operation, we're not into the jurisdiction of the Empire. So you're part of the mining guild then. Right there. Okay. Leia is a rebel. She's a rebel leader. She's been in the Imperial Center her whole life. And she goes, oh, you're in the mining guild. And Lando goes, oh, no, not actually. Our operation is small enough not to gain any attention, which is advantageous because we be selling a lot of weed out of here, Chewbacca. And then Han, being the drug trafficker, human trafficker, smuggler he was, goes, aren't you afraid the Empire's going to find out about this operation? Shut you down? And then Chewbacca starts to smell it. He goes, but he doesn't say anything because Han told him to stop doing that when he's around black people. And then Lando goes, after Han says, aren't you worried the Empire's going to find you? He goes, that looms like a shadow over everything we built here, but things have developed that have ensured security. Now, if I'm Han Solo right here at this part, I'm thinking, okay, you get new cameras? Did you get armed guards? What's happening? Reinforced windows? It's the Empire, you know? Like, how are you gonna... How have you ensured security with the Empire? I've just made a deal that'll keep the Empire out of here forever. You what? Hold on. Wait, hold up. Don't open that window yet. One second. Yep, see, there you go. Chewie can smell it. And then door opens. And then I've always wanted to know how long Darth Vader was sitting there. As the door opens, not only is he sitting there, Boba Fett's behind the corner. And Vader the entire time is like, not yet fit. Because Anakin's dramatic. No, this is not just a dinner. It is a performance. And then Han sees him, doesn't wait, because Han with his lady. When you're with your lady, you can't be no bitch. You could pull out your firearm and just start shooting at the ops. It doesn't matter if you're at the airport or not. Maybe it does. I don't know the law. But he just immediately, Han, blickety black, fucking up Vader's gloves. And then he takes that shit from him and he hits him with the coolest line ever. Oh my God. I love this. Is probably my favorite Darth Vader line. We would be honored if you would sit in the cock chair. And there's food on the table. Someone made this. Boba Fett comes out with his little spats on. And then he's got the masked federal agents behind him who don't have to show any accountability. And then right there, you got Reverend Al Sharpton Calrissian, who sold out his own people, saying, they arrived right before you did. I had no choice. I'm sorry. Han goes, I'm sorry too. For trusting a darky. They cut that part out, but it's in the special edition. You just got to watch it. And then Chewie's looking around being like, did we just get caught? Motherfucker, I have been pissing in the same wall for 3 weeks and we got caught going to a goddamn hometown buffet. You'll see a parody of that on Certain Point of View coming up. Not our best first start off to clip of the week, but you know, Roy Bond he's a trial and error, and this one is full of errors. Okay, what else we got here? Oh, movie of the week I wanted to recommend to everybody. It is a brilliant film, Kickstarter film. Oh, I want to thank everybody who came out to the shows in Tempe, Arizona. God, that was such an incredible weekend, man. Shout out to T. Kingsby. Shout out to Alex Gorge. Man, that was just, after not being on the road for 3 months, and I won't be on for another 3 months, March 20th and 21st, and somewhere in Ohio. Please go to my website and check it out. It sounds like it's my fault that I don't know where it is, but I promise you it's not. I think my career is just over. So please support the other podcasts as well, because otherwise that scroll that pays for my fentanyl habit is, it's going to leave me on the side of the road with Andy Dick. Tempe was amazing. Beautiful weather, incredible people. The people are so friendly down there that like when they come up to you and they try to start a conversation, you think you're about to get robbed. But it was just nice to be down there and not see Carrie Lake. And Atlanta was interesting. I love the people in Atlanta. I got a lot of friends down there. Shout out to my boy Marcus, my boy Jimmy, all the guys down at Hidden Village, the Comedy Kaijus. I love them. The hustle down in Atlanta is so enamored with it. I think about I sound like a white African studies professor. Or Patrick Bateman. I go back to the 1993 Source Awards where Biggie Smalls and Tupac were having an East Coast, West Coast beef, and Suge Knight gets on stage and goes, are you tired of having your dancer all around in the video? Well, then come on over to Death Row Records. And in a moment of racial unity, when he did bring the crowd together, as Andre 3000 got on stage and said, the South got something to say too. And that thing was, hey, and the South, like still, and the way I look at it, they're still trying to get there. People don't recognize, especially Atlanta, how interesting of a place that is, man. Like, I love it. I love the people. There was a black dude who picked me up in a Christmas hat the last time I was down there. Do you know how much a black man needs to love Christmas? To wear a Christmas hat and to play Christmas music and to tell me to get in the holiday spirit? I don't know if it's just because my black dad has hated Christmas the entire time I've been alive, but it generally doesn't seem like something black people celebrate. I don't know. They celebrate it. They're not putting antlers on the front of their Saturn to do it. But I mean, that guy gave me my phone back when I lost it in his car a year ago, which never happens in an Uber. And it was a really big help to me, but I guess not big enough for me to remember his name. I'm such a fucking dick. Jesus Christ. But for a while, there's not going to, road stuff I'm sure will pop up, like pregnancy scare or zit. I got written such beautiful cards. They made me cry and I needed to read them. Before I get into questions and everything, I'll let you, I wasn't going to talk about this, but fuck it, I'm going to talk about it anyway. I've been trying to bring bonding back for a couple of weeks. About a month, actually. But a month ago, a friend of mine who I loved very deeply took her own life. She was young, 30 years old, had the whole rest of her life ahead of her. And she was one of those people that I would call when I was feeling like that. And, it's at first the difficult part of the transition. The transition was to not be able to do that. And I did the voicemail thing. You call the voicemail and you hear it, and it's not even her voice. And yeah, I don't know what part of the grieving process I'm in I'm not in denial, I've accepted it. It's just been a pain never goes away, you just make room for it, and suffering is a choice, and I'm choosing not to suffer, and I want to honor my friend's life, but it's been very, very difficult for me to want to touch anyone else's life because I have this weird thing in my brain that tells me that everything is my fault, so I just assume I'm a black hole, and then I don't wanna be around anyone. It's like Luke in Last Jedi, I'm drinking green titty milk because I don't wanna hurt anybody. And the road shows that I did in January in Tempe and in Atlanta, I didn't even think anybody cared about me anymore, to be honest with you. Those shows made me go, "Okay, I'm kicking all 3 podcasts back into gear, and you're getting stand-up clips from me all year round because that's my purpose, and I'm living in total clarity of it. My purpose is to entertain, and I'm gonna entertain you motherfuckers, or I'm gonna make you leave hate comics." Apple Watch is telling me to stand up. It's probably right. So I do wanna say rest in peace to God, to my rest in peace to Tara O'Connor. You were gone way too soon, and I should be here talking shit with you about the worst thing you ever did to me was make me live the rest of my life without you here. But I promise to, again, what do people say? I promise to always remember you. It's not an option. You're with me all the time. We're doing this thing on the podcast. We'll get to it at the end. There's a Denzel Washington movie called The Preacher's Wife, and he says, and I don't believe in God. Hokey religions and ancient weapons are no match for a good blaster at your side. And that's going to distract me. Don't write that shit. There was a line in The Preacher's Wife where Denzel, he plays an angel who comes down and he's talking to some woman who just lost somebody. And he said, when God, and whatever you want God to mean, believe that shit. I'm an atheist, but I'm not a rub it in your face atheist. They do that enough. They just sit around and listen to atheist talk shows being like, nope. But Denzel said something that always resonated with me in that movie where he said, when God takes someone away from you, they leave you with the strongest memories of that person. As long as you can remember them, that person never goes away. And, the last time I saw Tara was at a comedy club that I work at pretty frequently. And every time I look at that chair, I think about her. And she was the first friend I made when I moved to the city. And was one of those friends that saw through you and saw you and for who you really are and showed you genuine love. And the fact that I wasn't able to, and it's not something I would have been able to, but the fact that nobody could take her hurt away is what lives with me all the time. But I also hope wherever she is, she's not in the pain that she was anymore. And I hate doing this on podcasts because it brings the mood down. I hope you're not driving into work at the mortuary when you're hearing this, but check on your friends, check on your family, not even if they're acting crazy, not even if they're just buying rope in bulk. Just pick up the phone, call them. I screened 6 calls from my dad today, so maybe don't take all that advice from me, but your friends, you could be there for your friends. Okay, 2 more things. We're going to go over Troy's weekly playlist, and then we're going to get to some questions. Here we go. Okay. We haven't done weekly obsessions in a minute. It's linked below. This is 21 songs that I have had back and just either stuck in my head or I've been completely obsessed with. Some of them are repeats. I try not to put repeats on these episodes, but it's honestly also been very long since we did this. So if you want to follow along, get on Spotify, Troy Bond's weekly playlist, pass me the aux cord. I'll get you a good commute to work. Thinking About You, Whitney Houston. I bet your ass don't even know that song. Whitney was one of the best singers on the planet. Girl could not dance to save her life, which is ironic because she wrote one of the best dance songs of all time. But it's just so percussive. And then there's a harmony in the middle. You're just like, maybe I'm not intoxicated, my mind, I'm thinking about you. All these songs are always about when they're laying in bed with the one who just spent their last $7 on them, but they're thinking about some corny dude. Word Up by Cameo. You can't miss it. I was listening to the Korn version all week, so I had to throw in this one. Say, Say, Say by Paul McCartney and Michael Jackson. I was hanging out with my brother Logan. He loves the Beatles. I love Prince. Michael. So obviously, that's a perfect mix for us. LaToya Jackson's in that video, and so is Paul McCartney's wife. I think the one with the one leg. I forget. Not that there's anything wrong with that. Then, this one is a little tricky one. It's The Glamorous Life. And if anyone here over 40 is going, by Sheila E., no. But you knew that already. Prince wrote that shit. You see, what Prince was brilliant at is he created his own ops. Right? Like, you had Morris Day and who? They did Jungle Love. I forget what the name of their group was, but Prince created them. He was a master, and Prince would write music for people and then just hand it over to him, and then you'd hear Prince do his version of it, and you're like, damn, why did you ever give that away? Like, there's another great Prince song called I Need a Man. If you get a chance, listen to it. I think it was written for Whitney, and then he was like, nah, I'm just going to hold on to this myself. Thank you very much. Also, I saw you played my song in Stranger Things. I would have never approved that. Ladies and gentlemen, this is your Captain Prince speaking. I want you to kick that Will Byers off the plane. That's right, I was self-hating as well, but I love Prince. That's my probably number 3. Okay, this is the very millennial of me, but this was the biggest, most technological video when I was a kid and we couldn't figure out how it was done, but it's Jeremiah, Virtual Insanity. I think that song might be about eugenics. I'm not sure. Every time I hear it, I'm like, ooh, but it's not AI. Not every child, every mother could change the eyes of her child's child. Day the way today. Well, that's what makes it yesterday. I think we need a new religion. That makes sense that it'd be about AI, though. Yeah, as he's doing one of the most technological advanced things in a video of its time. All I Do by Stevie Wonder, and if you listen to the chorus, Michael Jackson is in it. I'm about to put you onto something. See, you just getting into Michael. You new to this. You ain't true to this. Here we go. All right, ready? Listen. Hold on. I don't want to get copyright stricken. Come on, Stevie. Come on. Listen to Michael. It's about you. God damn, I'm probably going to get a strike for that one, but I don't care. Speaking of black people music, I know you watched the Grammys. Luther Vandross was one I grew up on because my uncle is bisexual and he smoked crack. One don't really have to do a lot with the other, but, you know, I smoked crack with him and I listened to music with him. And we would listen to Luther, and he had this thing where he'd tell me every celebrity was gay. He told me Luther was gay. He told me Magic Johnson was gay. He told me Dwayne from What's Happening is gay. Everybody was gay. Everybody's gay with you, Tony. But turned out, I mean, black folks knew Luther was gay. They just didn't give a shit for one of the very rare times in history. And next time you are listening, just I'm going to keep it 100% funky with you. Ready? Hold on. You got to stop it right there. What the? God, that just made you I just took a shit fake. Just hold on. Listen to that again because you wasn't listening. Ooh, damn. Virtual Insanity? Sorry, I was having a Luther moment. A critique about the future driven by technology? We don't have to worry about that. Marge, my electric car will make my Pop-Tart. Consumerism, eh? The Simpsons are going to Costco. Homie, you can't go there anymore after what you did to that chicken bake. That chicken bake had it coming.
Where human interaction is replaced by digital artificial realities, leading to a profound disconnection from the natural world.
Can a robot draw a symphony? It can now. Not a good one. Ooh, this is a good gem that I don't think a lot of people know. This is one of my favorite Isley Brothers songs because Isley Brothers are always making music about getting cheated on. You're contagious, touch me, baby. R. Kelly's in my bed. But Cynthia Erivo, before she was whatever she is, what's her name? Alphabet. I sang Wicked one year in choir in high school, and I wish I didn't just say that sentence out loud, but look at me, I wasn't a football player. She did a cover of This Whole Heart of Mine, which is one of my favorite songs. It's about the hook in it is, if you leave me 100 times, 100 times I'll take you back. That's a song for people with no self-esteem. Cool It Now. I've been seeing so many videos of Bobby Brown on TikTok, and I'm not going to say shit. I'm a Cool It Now. I think the brother has been through enough. Did he beat the shit out of Whitney Houston? Yes. I think Whitney got a few licks in as well, but that's not to justify it. That's to say she at least was able to defend herself. Lifelong substance issues. Whitney finally kicks him out. There's a great reality series called Being Bobby Brown, and it looks pretty easy. Loses his wife and his daughter, or his ex-wife and his daughter the same exact way. Clive Davis. I mean, drowning. And you know what? That's Bobby's prerogative, and I'm just happy he's still with us. It's just like watching the Steve Harvey convention with all the members of New Edition on stage together. Like, it's not even Poison anymore. It's just, it's Ben Gay. Never trust a big walker and a smile, because that bitch got dentures. I landed on my feet on that one. Okay. Love Galore. Travis Scott says, I listen to music from 15 years ago. I listen to what the kids listen to. Don't say shit to me about this because this is a bop. And with Nelly in it is even better. Is Girlfriend by NSYNC featuring Nelly and the Neptunes. One of the greatest NSYNC songs. I think the greatest NSYNC song. Yeah, I can't put one above it. They did one with Black. Oh, baby, give it all to me. But Timberlake wasn't in it. But I think Fatone had that line. Baby, what's the deal? Is it my Timbs, my jeans, my thug appeal? Yeah, Joey, you are thugging as a motherfucker. Anyway, the rest of these songs, we got about 21 of them. They could be found on Troy's weekly playlist. Let's get into questions from the Troy Scouts. Did you have... You gonna say something? Almost done. Okay. Have you heard the MJ leaks? Thoughts? Yes, I have. I think they're real. And what I think is going to happen is the estate is going to start releasing a whole bunch of shit after the movie comes out, because the movie is going to be separated into two parts, because it was going to be one big movie, and then they were shooting the stuff that happened with Jordan Chandler in 93 with the first set of allegations, and then they didn't realize that there was a clause in the lawsuit at the time that said that if any dramatization of a Michael Jackson movie was to ever be made, they could not include this part, the Jordy Chandler part, which, to quote Alfred Pennyworth, eventually, of course, they did. So they had to scrap that part, and I think they're going to end the movie with Man in the Mirror at the Bad Tour and open it with him performing Jam at the Dangerous Tour. Then maybe we'll see him in a rehearsal. Then it'll cut to the allegations. But my thoughts about the leaked songs is they all should be out there. I know why the estate is sitting on them, because they want their money, but like Prince has enough music in his vault that we're never going to hear all of Prince's music. Michael was not the same music maker as Prince, and there's no reason why they shouldn't do what they did in 2014 with the Escape album and repurpose all of these songs and put them out because that album fucking slapped. But I get it, like I'm a big Star Wars fan, and I've come to learn that Disney hates money. When will you come to Diver? When will you come to Scotland? Whenever they invite me. I can't even get to Scarsdale right now, baby. I recently discovered Marilyn Moonlight. Are you familiar with her? I am not. She sounds like a porn star. When am I coming to Boston? I was just there last year. I love Boston. Ask not what your Boston can do for you, but what you can do for your Boston. I love Boston. I think Nick's Comedy Shop is one. Boston Comedy Club is one I've been to. Providence. I'm a New Englander, so like, why wouldn't I go to Boston? Will I fill you up? Well, I was going to start saying people's names before the questions, but I'm not going to. I have no idea who that is. That's Marilyn. Can I see her? Marilyn Moonlight? Can I see a picture of her? She kind of looks like if someone smushed Cloak and Dagger put together. What? Erykah Badu in her tall hat. Yeah, this is what happens if you want to be part of her apple tree. So she's DC, I'm assuming. That makes sense. She's probably going to do some dumbass shit with Zatanna. Ricky asks, how to feel being back on that stage in Tempe? It's amazing because I didn't think anyone was going to be there. And my favorite place to be on the planet is on stage. It's terrifying, that moment when your foot goes from the ground to the stage. I liken it to free falling. And it's probably the most terrifying moment of my life every single time it happens. And I was going to say I'll never share that with anybody, but I guess I just did. I love... When you see me on stage, you're not seeing a character. You're seeing me get to be me. And I get to be me all the time. But I miss the people more than anything else. Like, I love my supporters. I love to tour. I love getting to go out and see, whether it's 12 people or whether it's 13 people. Like, going out there and seeing that many people drove out to come see me, I'm going to be doing this for the rest of my life. And you're never going to have to worry about me losing ambition, because I ain't going a goddamn nowhere. And as long as you let me keep getting on stage, I will keep getting on stage. And I will not make any comments about any high-profile podcaster deaths in the near future. If you could live in any country not named USA or Canada, what would it be? I have to pick one of the ones I went to. I've been to London, Amsterdam, Belfast, and Ireland. And the food sucked everywhere except Belfast. But they be fighting, and they fight rough. But they're very friendly. I did a BBC show out there. You see, even my gay-ass mouth couldn't get that out. I did a BBC out there. Japan looks cool, but kind of racist. I guess it'd have to be English speaking because I'm way too old for that shit now. You know, probably go to Greenland just to be like, see, it's not that hard, Trump. Oh, damn, brother, you asked a lot of questions. Okay. How could we rewrite Superman with no sun so it's even more capitalist? What was it that you said? Change the ending. And I'm not going to spoil it because we're going on Secret Identity in 2 weeks. We're reading that. So if you watch Secret Identity, start reading Superman and the Red Sun. It's one of the best books that they read out there. Or I think there's a movie on HBO too. It's really good. This person wrote, who is it? Is it a friend of mine? Who is it? Is it my brother? Lyrics to a Michael song. And that is actually, a lot of people don't know, a diss track to Jermaine Jackson. Have you realized the depth of your power yet? You're more than just only a comic. Yeah, you're right. I'm barely that now, too. I don't think about things like that because they don't exist in my mind. I am there the more I start thinking about that, the less funny and entertaining I'm going to be. I'm there to put on a show or to be interesting or to, and the second I make my act about my act, that's why I'm stopping talking about the Charlie Kirk stuff. Like I said what I had to say. I'm over it. He's dead. Let's move on. Like Erica certainly did. Why can't we? But thank you for saying that. I don't feel important, but you make me feel important, if that makes any sense. How does it feel to know that the love never went away but grew over time? All right, I'm done answering your questions, Ricky. You just be taking acid and asking me 50 questions at once. That shit that hit me right in my clitoris, man. I'm writing a short story on Substack, and I'd love for you to read it and tell me your opinions. Send it over to bondingpod@gmail.com. I will read it, and I will give you your opinions, or I will put it through ChatGPT and make it sound like I did it. Best tits I've ever seen. Okay, and it's only circumstantial because it was the first time I'd ever seen them, I think, but it was the first time I masturbated when I watched Mary Carey and Stormy Daniels on Ditzy Dykes Volume 6. I just couldn't believe that you could do all that with those, and I masturbated, and I told myself I was never going to do it again. And then 10 minutes later, the nudist episode of Family Guy came on, and I immediately was masturbating again. I used to put on condoms to masturbate. I don't know why I did that. My parents never taught me shit about sex, and if you come to my shows, I got a whole great bit about that. Suffering from imposter syndrome might succumb to the dark side. I fear I've lost myself. Oh, my boy. Okay, all right, how do we want to do this here? Could you grab my Yoda puppet? It's on the dresser out there.
Or do you want the branches?
No, I want the Yoda puppet because he's falling to the dark side. And I care a lot about this guy. It should be right on that drawer that you put together. Yeah. No? Okay. I'll come back to that one. Can we exchange numbers? No, I'm sorry. I was told that is a security risk, but let's stay in touch on Discord. It's okay.
Lost you think you are, but lost you are not. Imposter syndrome, a clever trick from the dark side. Whisper to you it does. Belong you do not. But ask yourself you must. If truly did not belong, why would the force trouble itself to test you? Appear, doubt does, only when growth is nearby. Before this, certain you were, certain, because smaller you were, Ambition growing it is, But look at me, judge me by my size, do you, Appear doubt does, but only when growth nearby is. Appear doubt does, but only when nearby growth is, Now,
I'm losing it.
Now, expanded you have become, and the mind tries to run you to a shape you have outgrown. Fear the dark side you have. Good. Is fear. Light side. Fear it is. Fall to darkness one does not by feeling lost. Fall one does by pretending one is not afraid. Lost yourself you think you have? No, Master Batboy, lost yourself you have not. The self you miss cannot walk where you now stand. Grieve it you may, but return to it you must not. With much pain much clinging comes.
Did any of that make sense? I'm using a Buddhist doctrine thing, and okay. All right. Yeah. I know I'm going to close this. You're right.
The self you miss cannot walk where you now stand. Grieve it you may, but return to it you must not. Much pain comes from clinging to certainty, to identity, clinging to the idea that you were ever finished becoming. The dark side promises. No confusion, no doubt, only control. Control? Real peace is that? Control? Fear wearing an armor, that is. The light side. Harder things to sit with not knowing. Move forward without proof. Trust the force, even quiet it is. If lost, practice this I give you. Instead of asking, who was I? Ask instead, what feels honest now? Oh. Small acts, choose. Not destiny, not legacy. One honest step. And remember, important this is. You are not failing the path. The path is reshaping you.
That's good advice, Yoda.
Consent to that I did not.
Let's see. We got a few more questions. Favorite animated show as a kid? Oh, man. All right, I'm going to give you 5. Jimmy Neutron Boy Genius got to be up there. Simpsons. Fairly Odd Parents. Cat Dog. Rugrats. I got one more. Oh, Batman the Animated Series. And thank you for that, Batgirl. Could you hand me that Batgirl right behind you? Person who wrote that question gave it to me, and she doesn't like her spot being blown up, and she wrote me a beautiful letter about it, and I just want to say, I'm not going to say your name, but thank you very much to the person who sent me this beautiful Batgirl, and one more in the back. I love that it says Spectrum of the Bat. That's a Batman who shows up to punch the Riddler exactly 17 times every time he has to get a trophy. Yoda or Grogu? Man, fuck Grogu. If Grogu was in my house, I would put his ass in a blender, blend that shit up real. The only redeeming quality of Grogu is, besides the plot to sell, Disney learned a long time ago, if they make a baby version of an animal, people are going to buy toys of it. The only cool thing about Grogu was that Kellen Beck was the one who saved him, who was the guy who was in the motion capture suit for Jar Jar. And that was a really cool moment in Mandalorian Season 3 when he came in to save him with the duels and everything. I just don't care because we have 30 years between Return of the Jedi and Force Awakens, and they seem to be doing this Mandalorian and Grogu and Spike TV movie that nobody really asked for, with Jeremy Allen White as Rada the Hutt and Meebo from the Clone Wars as the villain. I had to look at what your question was because I was going on one of my Star Wars rants. Yoda or Grogu? Yaddle. How about that? Please pick to have only one stay. DC Comics, Marvel, or Michael Jackson? Michael Jackson. I almost bought both of those conglomerates. Not a question, but thank you for using your platform for good. Thank you. Yeah. I don't know that I'm doing that, but I am just talking my shit and trying not to hurt anybody. Have I ever read Hellboy? Not read Hellboy. Heard the Ron Perlman movie is fantastic. I'm sure we will cover it on Secret very soon. Least favorite comedians. Opinions on Kill Tony. Well, my friend, you kind of just answered that in one sentence. Is it worth it, in your opinion, to become an entertainer? Is the cost higher than the reward? Well, depends on who you ask from a certain point of view. The cost to you could be something completely different than the cost to me. It's like any job you chase. You know, is going to medical school for 8 years worth it? Is going to law school for 62 years worth it? And then going to grad school after that worth it? I don't know. It probably is when you are getting into it to help people. I got into show business because I wanted everyone to look at me while I talked. So yeah, it's pretty fucking worth it. Little wandering muse. God, do you think I got into this for the art? Jesus Christ. I have dozens of dollars. When are you coming back to Texas? If they'll let me, I'll be there in a heartbeat. I was just in Plano. I love Texas. Texas is one of my favorite places to do in comedy. How to start doing stand-up comedy. This question comes up a lot. I'm going to give you the answer. I answer everybody else. Buy yourself a notebook that you only use to write jokes in. Write every funny idea that you have in that notebook for 6 months. And now a second before those 6 months, when you're about 5 months in, start trying to craft out a 5-minute set, and then at month 6, go to your first open mic. And you have to go to that first open mic within your first 6 months because you got to spend 5 months writing the jokes. You got to spend a month prepping, and then you do that first open mic. And guess what? You will never have a first open mic again. Are you an innie or an outie? Is that a belly button? Yeah. What are my thoughts on Weird Al's MJ parodies? I don't know if I've discussed this before, but if it weren't for Weird Al's MJ parodies, I'd never know who Michael Jackson was. When I was a kid driving home from the karate school, well, my father was driving. I was a kid. A friend of mine who was playing Fat, and I had no idea why this was so funny. I'm just 10 years old. It's great. It was right after White and Nerdy. And my dad said to me, if you want to know why this is funny, go home and watch Michael Jackson's Bad. And I think that he regrets that more than anything else in his life, because I was in 5th grade and I had one of those computers with the BBL in the back. And when he came down from the subway and then he went, whoosh, and the music video started, I knew what I wanted to be for the rest of my life. I wanted to do something in that variety. Tips for writing comedy. Once I start, I will let you know. I write like my scripts to podcasts. I write TV and movie stuff, but I do a lot of my stand-up writing on stage because that's where the crowd is. And there's not a crowd sitting on my desk at home. A lot of people, they're very good at it. Maybe I'm just lazy, but I'm kind of like the Jay-Z of comedy. I know. Okay, my favorite band, D12. What is my favorite band? Oh, I gotta go with Fleetwood Mac. Yeah, Fleetwood Mac. My mom did that to me. How to start doing stand-up comedy. Yeah, I got you, dog. You good. Do I enjoy Doctor Who? Yeah, the same way I enjoy getting a icicle jammed into my asshole at my grandmother's funeral when I asked for a Dr. Pepper. But I've heard great things about both. Damn, I'm late. Love you, though. Nah, you're not late. You here. Thoughts on the Planet of the Apes movies? Caesar Cobot, Nova, etc. The new ones? I think that they're great. Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes was really, really, really good. And I love Planet of the Apes. That's the franchise I grew up on. My dad made me watch that when I was like 10, and he was like, this is about the civil rights movement. And I was like, okay. But then he said that about everything. Like one time he made me watch a episode of Family Matters where Steve gets sent to the moon, and he's like, this is about black people. And I'm like, no, the fuck, it is not. Most anticipated movie of 2026. That is a great question. Doomsday. Gotta be Doomsday. Yes, that's above Michael. Jafar sounds like him. He just doesn't look like him to me yet, you know? Will I ever come back to San Diego? Girl, you know I'm coming back to San Diego. I might move to San Diego. I'm just waiting for them to let me. That's why I'm pumping out all the podcasts, because, well, I sound like Jeff Goldblum. Yes, I'm waiting to get on a San Diego. I'll even take a middle seat. Yes, a D, E, F, or so on in phalanges, of course. Okay, let's see. Last few questions. What's your favorite thing about Anakin Skywalker as a character? That's such... Okay. I was going to try to keep that brief, but it's just not going to happen. In the Revenge of the Sith novelization on the side, it says, this is how it feels to be Anakin Skywalker forever. And when you're a kid, you go, that sounds pretty fucking cool. He's a dope-ass Jedi. He's got the Force. This guy's cool as hell. Then you realize when you're Anakin Skywalker forever, you're tormented by the love you had for your mother when you were pulled away from a cult because they told you you're the most powerful being that is going to bring balance to a religion you might not even believe in. And that fear of loss and the fear of losing your mother, which is why the Jedi take the children so young, leads you into a toxic relationship. Not toxic, a beautiful one, that they truly did love each other. Padme waited for him to turn 18, and then she jumped those bones. How I feel about Anakin Skywalker is how I feel about myself a lot of the time, in the sense that Anakin has a hard time letting go and not blaming himself for things, and often because of that, it leads to his own self-destruction. I mean, Revenge of the Sith, people say they cram 4 hour, 20 years worth of shit into a 3-hour movie. His journey began as a slave, and you watch Attack of the Clones and you go, oh, he was evil the whole time. And by the time Revenge of the Sith rolls around, this is after a 3-hour war. He has absolutely no faith left in the Jedi. I was groomed by my uncle to smoke crack because I was told my love for Michael Jackson and my looks were the best of the family. You're not going to tell me if my uncle had lightning that he could shoot out of his hands when he was president, and he patted me on the back and appointed him to be his representative on the Jedi Council to save my wife from certain death, I wouldn't take it? Of course I would. The problem with Anakin, and I don't separate Anakin and Darth Vader because they're the same person, is Anakin cannot seem to take responsibility for his own actions other than Padme. And He knows he killed Padme. If you read the Vader canon comic, Palpatine tells him when he gets off the stretcher, and then Palpatine, he goes, no, and he does a repulse, and Palpatine's like, touch me with the Force again, Lord Vader, and I will finish what Kenobi could not. And the reason why I say Darth Vader is Anakin is because when he finds out Luke Skywalker is his son, he changes course. He goes, okay, I'm going to get him, I'm going to turn him, and then we're going to take down the Emperor. Then, when the Emperor finds out that that's what Vader was trying to do in The Empire Strikes Back, he takes him to the fleet out in Exegol, and he goes, hey, I got this much firepower. You are fucked no matter what you try to do. So that's why we see Vader's change of tone in Return of the Jedi, because he's like, Luke, you don't have any idea what he has out there. You are absolutely fucked. So what does he do? He rage baits his son to probably kill him. I think Anakin was ready to die at that point, because he didn't really care if his son turned to the dark side. You gotta understand, Luke and Vader didn't really have a relationship other than what it symbolized, which was the only thing that was ever going to bring Vader back to the light side, were his kids. And when Padme says there's still good in him, you see that good at the end of Return of the Jedi. Or at least that's how a nerd like me would explain why that's Hayden Christensen's ghost and not Sebastian Stan. All right, one more question. Would you like to hang out with me? Wow, I really wish that wasn't the last one. But goddamn it, Leslie Webb, when I'm in your city, shoot me a message. And I'll send you this rare edition Spectrum of the Bat autographed by Sean Penn? That can't be right. Anyway, this is usually on the point of the show where I say, next week we got this guest, but honestly, I'm Han Solo on this pod for a minute. Maybe it's the consequences of my actions, and I got to take a deep look at myself, but I'm a 30-year-old man now. And thank you for letting me yap at you for an hour and 27 minutes on bonding. We are dropping every Thursday. You have my word. And next week, we begin our once-a-week Denzel Washington movie review of the week. Until then, I'm Troy Bond. Get your tickets at troybond.comey.io. Shimon!